LSU has been in fall camp for 5 days now. We got news. It's something to talk about every day from camp. And also we got a huge weekend of recruiting that just happened. Picked up 2 defensive tackles. So it's a lot to talk about. We got a big show. And we got a lot to be encouraged about so far in camp. It's still early. You don't want to get carried away, but we've seen some good things. I think most would agree that last couple of years, LSU's Achilles heel has been the defense. I think we're pretty confident in the offense, assuming that the offensive line can come through early on. But we'll start on the defense and what we've been seeing there. We got some interesting developments so far. And we got probably 3 big takeaways that I want to mention about camp so far. The first one is going to start with the defensive line group. This is going to be a deep group, an older group, considering the guys that got thrown in the fire last year, like Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, but you also get Guillory back. So fall camp started with Bro and McKinley as your starting D tackles. And we know it's going to be a lot of rotation going on there. Starters don't really mean that much other than just the label as a starter. Everybody will play. The big thing is you're going to be deeper. Saturday, you had an extended period for the media to watch. You had Jacoby and Guillory along with Bro at one of those starting spots. This is big because Guillory brings something to that group that none of the other guys have. Guillory is bigger, he's stronger, and he's not that typical 4-3 disruptive tackle like a Kyle Williams. He's more of a space eater, occupy guys, keep your linebackers clean. So getting Guillory back at full speed after his injury last year is going to be huge for this defense. He started Saturday. Brian Kelly spoke about the development of McKinley after the first day of practice. And we started to see McKinley come on towards the end of last year. So you got to have difference makers at that position. And I think LSU is well on their way to having difference makers and going 3 deep at that position. You got 6 guys that you can play, a few that are really going to be difference makers and a few others that you can count on as far as depth pieces. You still get back Sean Washington, and you got Shadir Mitchell out of Texas from the transfer portal, who was another big body like Guillory. It's not quite as impactful as Guillory to this point, but he's still growing too. Another D tackle that we don't want to forget about is Bernard Gooden. Bernard Gooden had a big day Saturday. He was disruptive. He was letting them know about it, but he talks the talk, but he also walks the walk. So Gooden was a good pickup when LSU recruited 5 D tackles, 3 out of high school for the 25 class. You were kind of surprised to see Gooden come into the class after the spring. But apparently LSU had a competitive NIL package. Got him here, and he's making a difference. He'll be a big part of that rotation for LSU. Outside of your tackles, your starting D-line as a whole, yeah, Jack Pyburn, of course, Bro and Guillory, like I said earlier, and Gabe Relaford at end. Your ends are also going to rotate. You're going to see a lot of Patrick Payton out of Florida State. Guys like that. You still have guys that have been in the program that are coming along like Dylan Carpenter. But you also saw an interesting lineup on Saturday in team periods where they had a pass rush specialist type of package. You had Pyburn moving inside, and you had Kalaj Cobbins, a redshirt freshman out of Destrehan at one end. You had Gooden also inside, and you had Patrick Payton at the other end. And just to give you a little synopsis on Saturday, the defense won today. The defense dominated on Saturday, and that offense had a lot of trouble with that pass, that what we used to call a cheetah package back in the Bo Pelini days. But yeah, they're showing some creativity. Again, it's Blake Baker's second year at the helm at LSU. So you got guys that have been in the system. And plus, he's been able to get more familiar with the guys that he has, which will give him more options now that everybody is more used to how he operates. At linebacker, Whit Weeks didn't participate in the team drills or any kind of contact type drills. So this past weekend you had Wes Weeks and you also had Tylen Singleton at linebacker. So it's good to see Singleton get some run with the ones, because one of your biggest question marks on defense is your linebacker depth. We think we're going to be good at linebacker, right? So, of course, you got Whit Weeks coming back, and Devon Keys came on last year. What do you have behind them? We don't know. Singleton, very athletic kid, played safety in high school out of Manny, moved to linebacker at LSU. So to see him get those first team reps, it shows a little bit of the belief that the staff has in him. Anytime you're getting coached, your position coach is also the DC. That can't hurt. He's super familiar with what you can do, your strengths and weaknesses, and plus to get that one-on-one time with him. So that's an encouraging sign as far as having depth. You already had Whit Weeks getting an injury last year, and God forbid he has another one, but it's just a lot to ask. You're going to have injuries at some point across the board. So you got to go more than 2 or 3 deep. You need some more guys to step up. It looks like Singleton is starting that process, and it'll be interesting to see who can come along behind Singleton. You're talking about linebackers, you got to talk about Harold Perkins. Even though he's at the star now, we know that Perkins he's gonna move all over the place. He might be at star, he also might be at linebacker, as he was at practice in some 4-3 situations, and he'll line up at end at sometimes just to rush the passer. We all know that Perkins can rush the passer. The encouraging thing has been seeing him in pass coverage. He's actually graded out pretty decent in pass coverage to this point in his career. But if you look at him in the starting role at star, which is similar to nickel, you still might be a little hesitant to. You're not as confident in him in the slot. He can cover a tight end, but you got some creative offensive minds that you're going against. So you worry about guys scheming him up, getting a quick slot guy on him, but he's been very solid. He had some good reps against Bauer Sharp this past weekend. And he also had a pick in practice today where he dropped back and picked off Nuss. So Perkins is looking comfortable. It's hard to tell if he's quite 100%. He's obviously effective, but it's plenty healthy enough to make a difference in this defense. And I think that you're going to see some pretty creative ways of getting him involved. I don't think Baker is going to leave him in one spot to where an offense can pick on him, or you won't have him. You don't want to have your defense to where you're predictable in what you're going to do. So I think they'll move him around and be creative with that. Also interesting to see that CJ Jimcorley, a true freshman, is backing him up at star. He's one of the backups at star, and it looks like he's probably the perfect, as far as body type, the perfect match for that position. He's a little big for a safety, and he's a true freshman, so he'll only get bigger. Probably not quite ready to play linebacker yet. So we'll be interested to see what Jimcorley is able to do on to your secondary. This is where we'll also see a lot of mixing and matching, a lot of different lineups. One of the constants that we've seen so far is Mansour Delane, transfer out of Virginia Tech, and Delane is going to start. That's pretty much locked in. It comes down to who's going to start with him, and Ashton Stamps has been very solid. Stamps has improved every year. I've talked about it before. He had to play earlier than what he should have had to play, but he's as competitive a guy as you have on a team. He's gotten better. He's playing the ball better, especially last year. He really came on and had a lot of pass deflections. But Stamps will be fighting along with some other guys that are in the program and guys that are coming in, like Jakeem Jackson. Jakeem Jackson got some run with the ones, transfer out of Florida. And PJ Woodland had an awesome day Saturday. Woodland was all over the place, breaking up passes, got an interception. Woodland is a year older, a year stronger, and that was really his only detriment last year was his size and his strength. He got pushed around a little bit, but LSU is deeper in the secondary, particularly at corner, but really both corner and safety. They're deeper than they've been at some time, and there's reason to be a lot more confident in this defense, especially if they're getting the pass rush that we think we're going to get with guys like Patrick Payton and a healthy Harold Perkins. Can't forget about DJ Pickett, all-world DJ Pickett, listed at 6'5" now, 6'5", 195 as a cornerback. So he's still running with the second team. With the way he's playing, it's just going to be hard to keep him off the field. But for now, he's still running with the second team. And he's getting some good run. He's having some good reps. He's winning some. He's losing some. But physically, you won't see many guys like him, period. Moving out to the safety position. Of course, we're still rotating a lot of guys. Your constant has been A.J. Halsey out of Houston, transfer out of Houston. Halsey is going to play, and he's been very competitive with his pass defense. Said before, he's known as a run-stopping safety. He'll come up, he'll come downhill, help in run support, but he's playing the ball well. He's been aggressive, very aggressive. So Halsey's making plays. It's going to come down to who's going to start alongside of him. And Cooley, Tamarcus Cooley from NC State has also been very solid. But Cooley is a guy that's versatile, and you'll see him moving around. So Cooley also played some nickel at practice. And in those instances, you'll see a guy like Deshaun Spears come in at safety. He's had some run with the ones. Also, Jordan Gilbert, who was your starting safety last year and played through some injuries. So, again, safety is deeper, but they'll have to settle in on some starters. But I also think you got an opportunity to kind of play guys according to what you need on defense. You got certain guys like Spears. He's a great cover safety, obvious passing situations. You can get him in, slide Cooley down and nickel. I think Blake Baker have a lot more options than he's had so far at LSU, just due to the personnel being what it is. You've improved at every level, whether it's guys that have been on campus and have developed, or it's guys that you have gone and recruited out of the portal and out of high school who are coming in ready to play. So we can expect good things, big things from this defense in 25.